Familiar Wilson's Media. Relationships are the story.
You are made of meat, my friend, all the way down.
The following podcast uses words like and also. If you're not into any of that shit, then now's your chance.
3, 2, 1.
Run.
Super familiar with the Wilsons. Get it!
Welcome to Super Familiar with the Wilsons. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Josh. So we're going to do like an honest to God, like relationship topic very first thing in the off here.
I need to work into this. Should I go get more coffee? Maybe a little bit of like the whiskey in it. What is about to happen to me?
You just made me watch a show.
Let's back up. Made you. I asked you. You agreed.
Well, right. Okay. But I wouldn't have we're already starting off really well. I wouldn't have chosen to watch that show. What's the show called?
Nobody Wants This with Adam Brody and Kristen Bell. I have watched it already. I was ready for a rewatch, and I asked you to try it with me.
I think that, first of all, that's an unfortunate naming for any show.
Well, that's the name of their podcast, is Nobody Wants This.
I'm just saying that if you're going to try to sell a show or a book or a product or anything, that don't call it that. You're not going to enjoy this. Now on NBC.
Their show is about how awful it is to be dating and all of the things that the gentlemen do. And they're like, nobody wants this. That's the point of that. So
people in a relationship out there, tell me how you deal with this situation where, like, you've watched a show that your significant other has already watched. See, I prefer, and I told you this, I prefer for us to discover things together and form our opinions together. The pressure I feel with this situation is you've already seen this. You love it, right? It's a show that
I
you
do.
love.
I really like it.
And now I feel the pressure of, well, she already knows what's going to happen. So part of her attention is like trained on me and how I'm responding, and you have an expectation, or at least you have like you really want me to like it, right?
No, see, that's where you're wrong, because all of my attention on this is how charming Adam Brody is. Like that Seth Cohen, like OC 90s, whatever. It's a good year for the boys of the late 90s with Joshua Jackson and Adam Brody having resurgence. No, I think it's very charming, and I told you that I know how you operate, but you put stuff on like Man Down and things that I don't like, but I will sit there and watch it with you because I'm trying to spend time with you, and I can't wait around for you to watch everything. I can't sit here and go, well, I need Josh to be home and to want to watch this so I can try this. No, I think it was when I was sick, I watched it, and I thought it was very charming, and I liked it. I had the same experience with the show Shrinking with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. I watched it on the plane back from England. And you were very grumpy about it, and you watched the first episode and liked it, but also didn't like it. And so it's sad to me because there's so much that you're missing out on because it has to be a brand new experience. And you can't sit there and tell me that everything that you've ever asked me to watch that you've never seen before ever in your life. Because I know I've watched some Doctor Who specials. I know we watched Sherlock together when we were first dating. I could list the things. You made me watch The Big Lebowski. It's okay to say I don't like this. Like, it's okay to say, I didn't like it. I just asked you to try it. I don't understand why. Now you got to unpack our dirty laundry on the podcast. You weren't even ready to podcast yet. You were like, oh, let's do it later. And then the show ended and you're like, let's podcast.
In this show, these two sisters have a podcast. And instantly and immediately, I was annoyed because they didn't have their microphones on a mic stand. They were holding their mics. They weren't even talking into the mic. So instantly I was annoyed. Actually, I was annoyed beforehand because I find Kristen Bell to be the most unlikable person in acting.
Why are you mad at Kristen Bell?
I don't know anything about her personal life, and I don't need to. I'm not judging her personal life. I have never seen her in a role where she did not annoy the ever-loving shit out of me.
She's Anna. Did Anna annoy you?
I don't know what she's
Frozen.
Anna.
She's Anna from Frozen.
Okay.
Did Anna annoy you?
Okay, so as we're unpacking this, what maybe we're discovering is maybe I just don't like her face. I don't know.
Wow.
I just find her to be quite annoying. So
you made Jesus cry.
And also in this show, she is very unlikable.
I think that's the point.
Well, but why? But why? But why?
Because you've seen one episode and you're already mad at her. She it's supposed to be the evolution of these two people.
So you're telling
Why
me that
is she unlikable to you?
I don't know. I just do not. It's probably because she plays characters that are annoying.
But no, we're talking about this one. What did this one do that was annoying to you?
She was, are you kidding? Obnoxious, annoying person, always with the quip, always with the, maybe I had an issue with the writing then. It was just too.
Right. I don't think she wrote it.
Too cliche. Well, she spoke it and she apparently, annoyed me speaking it. It was too pat, too cliche, too ha ha ha. I don't know.
It's very chick lit. And so maybe this is why like it was recommended to me by girlfriends and we all love it. So maybe, I don't know. Is there a guy out there who likes it? I mean,
I'm sure that there are several guys out there who like it.
I bet all of my friends' husbands watch it with them and love it and are like, honey, can I get you some wine and chocolate and popcorn whilst we're watching this? And can I also
because they want to get out of the fucking room. It's just like, oh, I'll go get you some wine. Like, it's such unusual behavior for them, except for watching this show. And then all of a sudden they turn into Jeeves the butler because they can't stand it.
All right, well, we're going back to Shrinking then, because Shrinking has season 2. And I know that I can't think of his name, but from Ted Lasso, executive producer, what's his name? Roy. What's Roy's actor's name?
Oh, Brett Gold.
Yeah, like something that didn't seem like it should be his name.
Well, Brett. No, definitely does not seem like a Brett to me.
He is in the second season of Shrinking. And I watched the first episode when I had COVID, and so I was just feeling miserable, but
yeah.
I want to go watch the second season, but that means, so I haven't watched the second season, so therefore, based on I don't want to watch anything that you've already watched, you have to go watch the first season of Shrinking by your own damn self. I won't be in the room, and then we will watch the second season together.
If you knew anything about like my history at school, I never studied ahead, so I'm happy to give that a shot with you. You just got to tell me, like, and not here now because no one cares, but you got to tell me the plot at some point. So, all right. TikTok just closed down. The TikTok, I guess, they got annoyed that the United States decided to ban them, even though I don't think that they will actually be banned at the end of the day. So they preemptively said, okay, we're just going to cut off service to the U.S. And people are, and I'm not making fun of it, I am here just to say people are losing their mind. Some people.
So I went and checked on the 18-year-old because last night I got the screenshot of like TikTok is down or whatever that everybody's seen. And when I woke up this morning, I said, how are you feeling about it? She said, I'm just annoyed because it feels like a ploy that the incoming president's going to come in and save us and get TikTok back. And it's like a ploy that everybody will just be like, he's the greatest thing ever. So she's more annoyed because it feels like a political move on the new administration's part.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty naked thing that's happening there. I'm just interested in the sociological effect. Now, having said that, you and I know people who make money from TikTok. Okay, so there are, there are people who depend on that income.
They're content creators that I never got into TikTok. It's not a thing that I'm not allowed to open it at work. It won't open at work because I work for a state entity. We are not allowed to have it at work. So I have it on my phone, but it's not a thing that now I'll go face first into some Instagram reels, but TikTok is not a thing that I ever got into.
What I'll be intrigued by is how the other social media apps now change their interface. And my understanding is maybe that they kind of are to mirror TikTok in the 3 days that it's going to be down. So we will see, but we'll watch that. I was never in danger of becoming TikTok famous. That was never a thing. So I have no personal stakes in it, but I mean, I recognize that people did. So to our friends out there, we're thinking about you. Thoughts and prayers.
Go make some reels. Can you make money on reels instead? Like, can you be an Instagram? You can be an Instagram influencer, right?
I don't know. Again, like, this is not a thing that I will say that for the past couple weeks, I've been posting every day on our podcast account to Instagram just to see what happens. We're getting marginally a little bit more engagement, like 1 or 2 comments here and there. But besides that, I mean, I've seen no difference. So I listen, there's so much going on around us. And I've said so many times that I don't think that human minds are able and have the capacity to absorb all the information that we're surrounded by and that we expose ourselves to. You realize that last year a presidential candidate was shot at. You know how quickly that came and left the news cycle? These mysterious drones, you realize how everyone made a big deal about these drones that were appearing over a part of the U.S., and now not a whisper, not a word. Not a word. You know, our political climate. If you're a crook in politics, listen, just do what you want, because everyone will get pissed off until like the next Tide Pods hoax or whatever.
Yep.
We don't have the capacity to handle all of this, which means that we are overloaded. We respond and react to every little thing, and we don't hold on to anything. So, don't know why I started talking about that, because my attention span has been TikTok down to 10 seconds.
Yep.
I found myself at the end of that little diatribe wondering, how did I get here? Like I sleptwalked. See, that proves my point. We don't have capacity to hold on to anything.
I'm still mad on the behalf of Kristen Bell's face, so I wasn't even really listening to you.
All right. Well, let's talk about something a little bit more happy. We have our next Soccer Saturday update.
Woo!
Ready for this? The Mighty Wolves roared back in their second game of the season, shaking off last week's narrow loss with a thrilling victory against the Leopards. I will take a pause here to... No, not the Leopards.
Last week they lost to the Leopards. This week they won to the Pumas.
Dad nabbit. Fine. Yes, that was where our mistake was. Last week was not the Jaguars. It was the Leopards.
But next week they play the Jaguars, so it's all the big cats except for the Wolves.
That's right. But we won against who?
The Pumas.
The Pumas. The squad took to field one this time at Diamond Sports Park with grit, determination, and, well, creative directionality. So let's talk about our favorite player, our lovely son, 8-year-old Winthrop Wilson. He was the iron wall in goal.
He was.
Once again, he proved why he's a fan favorite, turning away 2 solid shots on target and delivering booming goalie kicks that cleared the midfield with authority. Winthrop also had a save of the day moment, calmly stopping a surprise shot from his own teammate Victoria.
Victor got a little turnaround.
The opposing team's coach had his strategy dialed in, rallying his players with this cry of, "When we finish, it's snack time."
Just a few more minutes and we can all go home.
A statement that clearly fueled an uptick in their energy, but not enough to overcome the Mighty Wolves.
Ow!
The game's crescendo came in the final play as Gunter emerged the hero, scoring a dynamic, dramatic, game-winning goal to seal the deal. The Wolves erupted in celebration, showing that persistence and a little chaos can lead one to greatness. Despite a few players still working on which direction to kick the ball, the Mighty Wolves showcased flashes of brilliance and the beginnings of solid teamwork. Final score, Mighty Wolves 1. What? Pumas 0. A hard-won victory for the Pack.
My favorite was when the Puma coach said, "No more cartwheels." And then the child who was cartwheeling all the way through just kept cartwheeling. And then at one point he yelled, "Stop holding hands," because it's like Red Rover. They were playing their own game of Red Rover back there.
It was a strategy. It was a distraction strategy.
That's right.
As if the kids needed to be distracted. I mean, that kind of comes built in. That's a feature, not a bug. I did notice something, though. Did you notice that the opposing sideline had lots of families?
Yes.
Unless it was one family, which could have been.
Well, I did notice. So we had a new player on the team this week.
Yes.
She did great, but her parents were sitting over there.
Oh, were they?
So
okay.
They came over for snack
okay.
and were like, so I don't know that they
God.
realized that we were on this side.
No, you know what? I'm finding myself loving this soccer season with the 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
This child is yours and
Ours.
mine.
we have him together
from this marriage, but I have two mid-20-year-olds
Mhm.
from my previous marriage, and you have the 18-year-old from your previous marriage. But it's interesting how like we're going through these things and these stages of life again, and I'm just really, really enjoying it. Not to say that I want to do it again.
Well, we're not.
In 5 years with another child.
We're not.
But no, I'm really, really loving it. And the weather's been agreeable as well. Now, when it gets hot,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But
But
it's
he's
a lot of
having a
fun.
really good attitude about it too.
Oh, he's having a good time. Yesterday, after the game, we gave Winthrop the opportunity to pick which restaurant we should go to. And weirdly, he picked the Olive Garden.
Well, it's not weirdly. It's because they've been really pushing this commercial about fan favorites are back. And his favorite sauce in the world is Alfredo sauce. And so we started talking about it, and he chose that he wanted to go there.
Wait. So you're saying that he's seen advertising?
Yeah. That's where
On
this
what?
came from.
Where's he
Like
seen
when
this
we're
advertising?
watching like Pop Culture Jeopardy and things like that, they play the commercials.
Oh, so advertising actually, we got to break him of that.
Yeah. Well, I think he's no longer going to want to go to Olive Garden. I think he broke himself of it yesterday.
Yeah, well, it definitely was like stepping into a time portal of the like 70s. Like all of a sudden, I was like, a 7-year-old kid waiting for my endless breadsticks. Like it takes me to a place.
Right.
And it is one of those things. It's like the Olive Garden experience. We go in and the atmosphere it definitely takes me to a time that is not now. They were playing it at one point, and I feel like this song is by Engelbert Humperdinck. The Tell Me Quando.
Yes,
Quando,
I heard it
Quando.
when I was in the bathroom. I thought about you because weirdly you used to sing that song.
Well, it's one of those earworms I can't get
Yeah.
out of them. But like that, when's the last time I've heard that song? So yeah, it took me somewhere. It's definitely a demographic, that place.
Yes.
We absolutely lowered the median age and the median waist size.
Yes,
like by a
significantly.
factor of 50.
Yes.
As I'm looking around.
Yes.
So this can be our Gainesville restaurant review, actually,
Sure.
because we had a lot of beige food, as you pointed
We
out.
did. It was all beige.
Tell me about your dish. Did you like it? Did you enjoy your
Oh,
dish?
well, yeah. I just did soup and salad, and the zuppa toscana I love, which is the spicy sausage, kale, and potato soup. But I did find, though, that I make that here, but I make it with cauliflower instead of potatoes, and I
Yeah.
actually like mine better.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's super nostalgic for me because when I was, my mom loved an Olive Garden experience after church, but that's not what the nostalgia is for me. In high school and college, I worked in the mall. Like I worked retail all the way through, and I've talked about that. But in our mall food court, we had an Olive Garden Express, and I would get breadsticks and Alfredo sauce. And a
Yeah, but you
salad.
don't get the quando.
I did not get the quando, but this was like the lunch. Because again, I didn't weigh over 100 pounds until I graduated from college. So eating these carbs was not a problem for me. I get a to-go salad, to-go breadsticks, and Alfredo sauce for dipping. So now Olive Garden gives you pay $4.95 for the Alfredo sauce, and it's never ending. They'll just keep refilling it. I could eat it with a spoon, so could Winthrop. So I ate a ton of breadsticks yesterday. So did he. The salad was good, but it was so cold.
Yeah, it's always so cold.
It was so cold. And the plate did you notice the plate was ice? Like they keep them
Yeah.
in the freezer, right? And then we ordered, which was a dud, the spinach and artichoke dip. And it was so hot. So going back and forth between the two extreme temperatures, I did not enjoy.
They call that the Florida weather special.
Yeah, right?
I'll tell you, though, those breadsticks, and anyone who's ever had those breadsticks knows this to be so. Once they lose their heat, they're worthless. They're like the nuclear rods. Once they've lost their usefulness, once they've cooled down. When they're hot, they are freaking delicious. But you brought some home, and like that's a waste. That's a waste of space.
The bag tells me how to reheat them in a
Yeah.
way that will be
Good luck.
equivalent to getting them from the Olive Garden.
Lies. All of them lies. So I had shrimp scampi,
Yeah.
which is supposed to be, in my mind, is supposed to be shrimp with angel hair pasta, some garlic butter sauce, and some tomatoes thrown in.
Yeah.
Well, I found it to be horribly underseasoned. When I have to attack something with salt, then I know that you failed because salt is not the only flavor.
Yeah.
I like. It needs to have some flavor in there from other different spices, and it was pretty flavorless. And well, go ahead and say what you're saying.
No, I was going to
then
say
I'll finish.
we've been married for 10 years. I I think that's the first time in a very long time I've seen you pull salt. You do not salt your stuff. Like, I will put salt on anything. You typically don't in a restaurant. And so when you grabbed the salt and the pepper, I knew it wasn't good.
Well, usually, I mean, we're Americans. Usually things are salted to high hell when you go out because that's just what Americans do. And if anything, I've had more meals that have been too salty than not salty enough. So, and the idea of salt is that really, if you apply it judiciously, it just elevates the flavors that are already there. Well, there was no flavor there, so I just got salt. And forgive me if this is usually a part of scampi that I'm not aware of. They chopped up asparagus and put asparagus in there. And it was like obstacles. It was like
you did not eat the asparagus.
And obstacles and at that flavorless. Like, I can tell you with 100% certainty, because I checked, that the asparagus added more flavor to my urine than it did to my plate.
I would hope that you would mean that it added more scent.
Yes.
Did you taste?
I absolutely did not taste, but it had more effect on my urine than it did on the plate, is what I mean to say here. Yeah, now I realize when I say I checked, that sounds like really, really weird. No, but all I'm saying is the asparagus was useless.
Yeah.
Like, if my intention was to, I want to come home and just as the dot at the end of the sentence, I want to smell asparagus in my urine, then great, then job done. But if I go to Olive Garden, then it's going to be because I want that sentimental, nostalgic feeling, but it's not going to be for the food.
No, if you stick with the soup, I think it's fine. And also that's the cheapest. The endless soup and bread salad and breadsticks is $9.99.
I think it speaks to how crap the food is that they have to keep the salad ice cold and they have to keep the breadsticks really, really hot. Because if they were at room temperature, they would just suck.
Yeah.
I feel like that salad, if it unfroze, it would just be a wilted mess.
Yes.
Like, lose all structure.
I went to Olive Garden once. I mean, when I was living at home, and they had ran out of lettuce. I'm like, this is your staple. Like, who planned this? Someone did not order. You have issues with your supply chain. This was not right. Like, you should have seen that one coming. That we were gonna need lettuce for the day. But Winthrop had his Alfredo and pasta, but he ate about 70 breadsticks and then immediately had a stomach ache for the rest of the day.
Oh, he was wrecked. That'll disabuse him of Olive Garden.
I don't think he's ever going to want to go to Olive Garden. He still doesn't feel great this morning. I asked him how his stomach was. He's like, it still hurts a little bit.
I will say that running out of either breadsticks or salad at Olive Garden is like the space station running out of oxygen.
I mean,
it's just like what's the point?
This is what you do.
All right, so it's been a while since we've had a game time. So, Amanda, let's do a game time.
Alrighty.
What time is it? Game time!
All right, Josh, are you ready for this week's New York Times flashback quiz?
Not a sponsor. Yes, I am.
Okay. So the conceit of this is I'm going to give Josh some events from history, and he's going to put them on a timeline. Now, he doesn't have to get them exactly correct, but we do like for him to guess when it is. But he needs to put it before or after the event that he came previously. So I'm going to give you the anchoring event, Josh. Now, I will tell you what it is, but I would like for you to first make a guess, okay? The first event is U.S. companies start making small, sleek restaurants that are shipped by rail. They're known as diners.
Oh, God, I
didn't
never
know that.
knew
No,
that.
I
But
didn't
that
know
would
either.
explain the shape.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
the
right?
stereotypical shape
yeah,
of like
that's
a car. Okay, so that diner, I mean, diners, you feel like diners are every cliche like 50s movie. Mm-hmm. So we're going to say like the 50s. We're going to say like 1951 with these diner cars here.
Okay, 1930s.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, because they were popular in the 50s, but this is when they were starting to be made. So
I like diners before they were popular.
Yeah.
You got the 1930s emo hipsters.
All right. Second one
So
is...
what was that, 19 what now?
1930s. Okay, that's your anchoring event.
Yeah, but 1930 what?
It just says 1930s.
Oh, well, that's shit. So that means then that nothing, I guess, can be like a
32
specific
or
30s.
35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1930s. That's the first time they've done that.
Because I guess they don't know. The stylish King Tut is entombed in Egypt with his afterlife essentials: food, clothes, and a whole lot of shoes, mostly flip-flops. Before or after diners?
Okay, so I need to attempt to put this, put a date to this.
Yeah.
And I am so ignorant about ancient history. So let's say, oh God, King Tut feels like he's way old.
I think he is.
1920? Okay, so we're gonna say Jesus. We're gonna say 1200 BCE for King Tut.
1323 BCE.
Oh,
You were close. I mean, you still got the point for getting it there, but good job.
King Tut.
All right, ready? A dance teacher.
I wonder if King Tut, like, he wore flip-flops. Do you think he came out with his own line of flip-flops
Yeah,
he, advertised on the hieroglyphic wall for people to buy?
The Tuts.
You
yes.
do? You think so?
I do.
They'd be called Tuts. That's
Yes.
very good. I remember when I was in camp, when I was a kid. That's a weird memory. I had this junior counselor in my cabin. He was like this big guy, really cool, like chill, cool, big mountain man looking dude. And he had these shoes that I think were probably the precursor to Crocs because they had little knobs on the soles, that would go against your feet. And I said, "Oh, dude, those look really cool. What are they called?" And he says, "Those are called titties."
Nope.
Yeah, so apparently there was a TIDDIES. There was a slipper or a flip-flop called titties. I should look that up. Oh, maybe I'm not going to look that up.
No, I don't think you should look that up. But Tuts titties, that's good. All right. I hate that. I hate that word. I grew up hating that word so much.
Tut?
No. Okay. A dance teacher, Judy Missett, realizes her students want to be fit, not learn choreography. She'll rebrand her class as Jazzercise.
Jazzercise has to be 1984.
Jazzercise is 1969.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow, that's
Okay.
earlier than I thought it would be.
1969 Jazzercise.
You still get the point. All right. Number 3.
Did you ever do Jazzercise?
No, I did not ever do Jazzercise. I was super into Zumba in the early 2000s, but not Jazzercise. And I was not around in 1969. Okay. James Monroe tells Europe to stay out of the Americas. Without a strong U.S. Navy, the only ones who can enforce his doctrine are Europeans.
We're going to say 1816. James Madison. I'm sure this was in Hamilton, wasn't it? Yeah,
it's James Monroe, not James Madison.
Monroe.
James
Shit.
Monroe.
Well, 1816 anyway.
1823.
Bam. 1823. James Monroe. Was that the one who wasn't married? There was one president who wasn't married, and I feel like his sister or someone played the role of first lady.
Oh,
or something.
really?
Am I getting that totally wrong?
I have no idea.
Let us know if I've gotten that totally bass-ackwards by emailing us at familiarwilsons@gmail.com, because I don't know. I feel like there was one president who was a bachelor, but then they brought someone in to kind of be his beard, as it were.
All right. John Glenn applies to be one of the first U.S. astronauts. Fearing he's too tall for a small spacecraft, he puts heavy books on his head to try to become shorter.
And
I'm concerned that John Glenn thought that was going to work.
I was going to say, and this was supposed to be our best and brightest.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this one's difficult. It's got to be like before 1969. We're going to say 1965 for John Glenn.
1959.
1959. John Glenn, best and brightest, put books on his head. Now, you're a shorty, though. Did you ever do anything?
Yeah, I put books under my feet, trying to make me taller.
No, but did you ever do those things where you hang from a bar to stretch yourself or anything like that? Or did you just
No, I used to go to a chiropractor and get adjustments make my one leg, because I had one leg shorter than the other, or so I was told.
Wait, what?
I told you about the whole chiropractor experience because of the car accident I told a couple of weeks ago on having to have my neck in traction. But he also identified that one of my legs was shorter than the other, so he'd adjust me to make them even.
So do you no longer walk in circles?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Moving on. To free himself from slavery, the gladiator Spartacus escapes and leads a revolt. He beats several armies before his eventual defeat.
So that movie was made in. Are you talking about the movie starting?
No, I'm talking about the actual gentleman.
Roman Empire. So it has to be in between Tut and Monroe.
All right.
So we're gonna say 1100 BCE.
73 BCE.
Okay.
You still got it correctly placed. All right. Theodore Parker, an abolitionist, predicts his cause will prevail. He describes the arc of the moral universe as long but bending toward justice.
Oh, see, now that's one of those sayings that's attributed to Martin Luther King.
Well, maybe Martin Luther King got it from Theodore Parker.
Yeah, but I'm saying is that I've always seen those memes. In fact, I think I've even posted one that has MLK with that saying.
Yeah.
What was the question? Okay, so abolitionist. I'm going to put it at 1845.
I bet the reason this is included is because Monday is Martin Luther King Observance Day here in the U.S., and I bet this is going to talk about that. 1853.
Okay.
So you still got it correctly placed on the timeline.
When's Theodore Parker Day? That's my question.
Yes. All right, 2 more. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
The Dutch artist Vermeer paints Girl with a Pearl Earring. He uses ultramarine, a rare blue pigment as precious as gold.
You know, I was doing so well. This could have been last Tuesday, and I would not know. Oh, God. Girl with the pearl necklace.
No, pearl earring. The girl with the pearl necklace is a different thing.
Shit. Okay, so we're going to say that that's back in the 1500s.
All right. So between Spartacus and James Monroe.
No. Yes.
1665.
Bam. All right, last one.
All right, ready?
I'm going for a queen sweep.
You
here.
are. A mathematician in India, Brahmagupta, writes the first known rule for doing arithmetic with a strange number. That number was 0.
Oh, this again. Damn it. You know, here's the thing. You're like, oh, that must be pretty recent, but humans aren't as dumb as we think that they are. Or
John Glenn is maybe a little
right,
bit.
but I think that we got dumber as time went on because, like, they were doing complex math and all this mess way. Like, that could have been before Egypt, before King Tut. Yeah, I'm going to say before King Tut.
All right.
Which I put at 13.
Oh, incorrect.
God damn it.
It comes before, it comes after Spartacus and before Vermeer. It was 628 AD.
Oh, gosh. Screwed it up. Listen, it's always going to be, I'm not good at math.
Yeah.
That's always going to be my downfall is math. That's just the thing.
So 7 out of 8. So I wanted to go. So when you're done with the flashbacks, it'll give you the timeline and it'll tell you some information about this. So this thing with James, whoever Parker that was.
Theodore?
Yeah, Theodore Parker. It clicks to an article about teaching and learning about Martin Luther King Jr. with the New York Times. So it's a long article, but that quote from Theodore Parker was a favorite of Martin Luther King. So I don't think Martin Luther King was trying to plagiarize. I just think that that it's become attributed to him.
Oh no, I was like going to the place where famously people misattribute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now it's time for Refined Gay Thoughts with Refined Gay Jeff.
I have missed hearing from Jeff.
Happy podcast to you, Wilsons. I'm hopeful that the new year is going well for you. I'm glad that you had a great anniversary celebration in St. Petersburg. Here's a completely random question that's coming out of nowhere, but it just popped into my head. What constitutes a second honeymoon?
I don't know. It's a really good question, Jeff.
Wouldn't it be the thing that you have after a second marriage? I don't understand the complication here.
No. It's couples will be like, oh, we're going on our second honeymoon. I don't know. Some people will do it for a specific, anniversary, major milestone. Some people will just do it when time they can get away from their children. I don't know. We just called it an anniversary trip. I don't think it was a second honeymoon. That's a good question, though.
He said, I'm just wondering if it's just a trip away from all responsibilities. But if that's the case, wouldn't yearly vacations be considered second honeymoons also something to ponder? It probably means without the kids. Yeah. It's probably what it really means.
Yes.
This has been my birthday week, and I've kind of enjoyed it. The actual day was on a Tuesday, but I've been celebrating a little bit each day. I obviously started on Tuesday with cocktails at the Ripcord. That's his local gay bar. They took really good care of me there, and afterwards I had a nice dinner of chicken fried steak and gravy with mashed potatoes and more gravy. How southern can you be?
Sounds lovely,
is what I'm
though.
asking. He says, I opted to take a piece of apple pie with homemade vanilla ice cream home with me. Well, there you go. That's how you can be more Southern. I am making this week all about my favorite food. So last night I had Chinese food. I think Chinese is my favorite. I had sesame chicken with egg drop soup and egg rolls. Sorry, Jeff, I cannot do egg drop soup.
Do you not like seeing the egg floating around in it?
It's just too evocative. See, I've got this thing with food, right? I've got to jive with the texture and with how it looks, as well as the taste. And I think sometimes texture even more, less now, but when I was a kid, that I think was the paramount thing of importance. Like that was my first consideration. And that's why I couldn't have stewed tomatoes, because they were just this, especially if they weren't hot, they were just this gloppy, gross feeling in my mouth. Could not do it. I judge Chinese restaurants, he continues, by the quality of their egg drop soup. And Eastern has the best. I've been going there for 23 years now. Helen, which is her Americanized name, is the hostess and owner and always calls me by name and makes me feel so welcome. She even knows my voice when I call in to-go orders. Now, my question is, does anyone else go to this restaurant? Because we have a local Asian place that we go to, and there could be months in between our times of going there, and they know what we want to drink at the bar. And I think it's because it's a front for something, and we are the people who come in. They're like, oh, shit, there's actual customers here. Even though it is not happening this year, he continues, because the birthday fell on Tuesday, I love when my birthday falls on the weekend because I always get a long holiday weekend for MLK Day.
Yeah.
Okay. I will be having extra fun on Sunday Fun Day because I won't have to go work on Monday. He says expect text messages, which we've already received.
They started last night, so
That's
good
right.
for you.
He calls me out for not responding to his comment about Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago, a few weeks back. It is a totally harmless throwback to Ferris Bueller's Day Off when Ferris, Cameron, and Sloan imitate Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago, to get a table at a really nice restaurant. No, don't remember that scene.
Have you seen Ferris Bueller?
I have, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember loving it.
It's, you know what I remember about Ferris Bueller? It stressed me out that they couldn't undo the miles on Cameron's dad's car. That's the thing that sticks out for me. And then they just wound up totaling the car. But yeah, I think it caused me to have the anxiety. This movie.
I think that even like back then as I'm watching it, I'm like, this actor is playing a teenager and he's 46 or whatever he was at that point. In other related news, Jeff says, Rachel Maddow said the word shambolic on TV this week. I thought that was kind of bizarre since I was just relating to you two that I'd never heard of it before you guys said it.
Well, that's what's that called when you all of a sudden become aware of something?
The yellow car syndrome.
Yeah, but
there's
there's another, there's like a guy's name for it.
Bader-Meinhof effect?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, where if you buy a red car, all of a sudden you're seeing red cars on the highway and stuff like that. Yeah. One thing you may not know about me, which is the segment we said we were going to do, and we totally dropped the ball.
Well, Jeff has picked the ball back up, so thank you, Jeff.
So he continues, when I was 1 year old, I contracted meningitis and was in the hospital. I almost died. I was running high fevers, and the highest it got was 106 degrees.
No, that's not good, Jeff.
My mom said I had convulsions because of it. Okay, keep it light, Jeff.
Well, no, those are febrile seizures.
What are they called?
Febrile seizures.
Okay.
Seizures caused by a high fever.
I cannot even comprehend if I were a parent now and had to go through that. As a result of the extremely high temperature, I always had a moderate hearing loss because of it. I guess hearing aids will be in my up and coming future because hearing is kind of getting troublesome. That's a thing that I don't know that the people know about me is like the hearing in my right ear is pretty fried.
Yep.
So if there's ever a loud noise, I will plug my right ear because it hurts and like kind of distorts a little bit. In fact, what I should do is carry like an earplug around. We went to, where did we go? We went to the Bowl last Sunday and we saw this really cool bluegrass artist. I realized, we're going to be in this small space with this music and it's going to be loud and uncomfortable. So luckily the Bowl sold little foam earplugs. So I popped one in my right ear and I was fine. So that's a thing about me. Now that was caused by years of playing guitar way too loudly and maybe also way too unskillfully. Who knows? But anyway.
All right, here's my thing about me. I thought about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Most people don't know or are surprised to find out that I am a natural, like really platinum blonde. No, not now. It's not like I diet to cover it up now. I do dye it darker than my natural color, but I was what like cotton-headed, toe-headed. I've never understood that phrase. Have you ever heard this phrase?
Yes.
I don't know what that means. Maybe it is problematic and I don't know. So maybe I need to research that before I say it. But I, yes, very, 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 very blonde when I was younger.
Very interesting. What do you think?
It's not very interesting.
What do you think your natural hair color is now? Because
now it's a like a medium blonde, but I dye it a dark brown. I mean it's a medium brown, but I dye it a dark brown, and also gray. Actually, not gray, white. Like where it's going, it's not like a salt and pepper. Like it's not going gray. It's going white. Like I've got these white strands to it. When my mom went gray, she went like almost platinum blonde white. So I have a feeling that's what mine will do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Though, why don't you stop dyeing just a strand of it, like Stephen Toast, or like Rogue from the X-Men? And
no, thank you.
That would be cool.
I'm an 8-year-old. I refuse to go gray and have people wondering why Grandma's picking him up from school. I'm not doing it.
This is my life. You realize this is whenever I'm picking up there. It's like, oh, how sweet, Grampy is coming to pick up.
That is your choice for not coloring that beard, because that's the only thing that makes you look older.
I tried to color the beard and it burned my face.
No, it burned your face when you used the stuff that wasn't the Mountain Man stuff that you were ordering. That did fine. You didn't have any issue with that.
Too much messing around. Jeff continues on saying, during that time I had to have 60 shots in my spine.
Oh God, Jeff, I'm so sorry. Well, you probably don't remember it, friend.
It says, well, I don't know about all that. It says, I don't know why. Maybe that's the medical decisions. That's what they were at the time. Mom and Dad have also told me my entire life that I had to be put in a baby straitjacket because of my reactions to seeing needles.
Sure.
So he did remember it.
Yeah, no, it caused some trauma that your body remembered. That
fear of needles followed me until at least high school and college days. I'm okay with them now. Don't like them, I can do them. So, yeah. He calls me out on my rudeness to the DoorDash guy.
Yes, you were rude to DoorDash.
He says, sorry that you were rude to your DoorDash guy, but at least you recognized it afterward. I try to always be aware of how I am being perceived because, hello, I'm in the Deep South and we were raised proper, spelled that way. There's one instance that I will share that happened over 20 years ago, and I wish I could turn back time like Cher and take it back because it still bothers me to this day. I won't go into the details, which fail, Jeffrey. Go into the details. But just know that it ended with me yelling across a parking lot late at night with more than a few cocktails in my system, isn't that always the way it happens, and got pissed off that I couldn't park in an empty parking lot because of a business that was closed. To the parking lot attendant, because they had one to stop people from parking in their lot, even though they were closed, I yelled that he was pathetic and drove away. Now, as far as insults go, that seems to be, I don't know, very erudite. Like, oh, you're pathetic. I mean, that's different than, hey, you asshole, or whatever. This is the first time I've ever told this story to anyone because it brings me great and ginormous shame. I hope that the universe has forgiven me. Did I mention that I may have had one too many cocktails? I'm going to go back and bleep out his last name. Just realized that's a thing we're going to do.
Yeah.
As far as having to put on pants to answer the door, I wear boxers, and they're usually solid color. They're quite baggy, except for the waistband, and they resemble shorts. I answer the door all the time in my boxers. And with my requisite rolled-up long-sleeve shirt, that's my daily uniform, it looks like a complete outfit. Maybe I'm kidding myself into thinking no one notices, but I've now officially reached early Social Security age, and I do what I want without asking permission.
There you go.
Yeah, well, that is an interesting thing. I feel like I would know the difference and it would bother me. But also, like, I can't wear boxers anymore.
Shall we talk about why on this podcast?
My boys need support.
Oh, okay.
My boys want to be held.
Do you need the toilet net thing that Chicken Farmer Tom has or talked about? Didn't they want, I can't remember either.
Net.
Yes, I can't remember either. It was something they wanted to patent or it was a thing that he wanted to order, but it was when you have to sit to go to the restroom, it was like a net that went over the seat so it held them up so they weren't in the water.
I vaguely remember that. Dude, if you need a net, I'm imagining like in gym class when the coach would bring out that bag made of a net and just toss it out there.
Toss all the balls.
Toss all the balls out. He says that he was super impressed that little Winthrop showed awareness to come and apologize for the way he acted. Yeah, we love that. It does speak to our parenting skills, if I do say so myself.
You said that, or Jeff said that to us?
Jeff says that, and I'm echoing that it reflects my parenting skills.
Okay.
He does comment that whenever he goes out and about, he's not holding anything electronic when he goes to the restrooms. In most bars and restaurants now, there's a ledge right above the urinal for people to place their drink, phone, keys, whatever. That should solve the problem. But the point is that the reason why you have your phone in your hand is to look at it because, inevitably you will get bored.
How long are you in the bathroom at the urinal? This is what I'm saying to you. I understand if you need to be in a stall and things are going to take time. Anyway, I have questions, but I am on board with this, a place to put your drink, especially in women's restrooms, because ladies, listen to me, do not walk away from your drink in a bar and leave it. Take it with you or leave it with someone you trust, because all kinds of madness going on out there in the streets.
The only thing is that kind of weirds me out to take my drink into the bathroom.
Better than getting roofied.
Well, I'm saying I agree with that, but just the idea, like, and I know it's irrational because if I'm worried that, whatever's in the air is going to get my drink, it's already getting in my lungs. So right. I don't know. He talks about Acapulco. My voice just cracked there. I'm really very excited about Acapulco. He says, back in the 90s, Richmond, who is our mutual friend, and I went to Acapulco for a week and had a great time. They saw the famous cliff divers and had a Harbor Bay booze cruise that showed you all the movie star houses along the coast, and there were many. The one that stood out to him, Frank Sinatra's house.
Oh.
Yep. Several years ago, Acapulco suffered from lots of drug cartel activity.
Oh,
See,
no.
This is my thing. I remember hearing and reading about the violence going on down there, and they weren't just simple gunshot massacres. Simple gunshot massacre.
No, right.
That's where we are right now. But not that gunshot massacres are simple by any means. This violence involved decapitation of all victims. Ooh.
Yeah, it was bad. It's bad. It's real violent.
And so you still don't hear about the city anymore. Puerto Vallarta, or PV as it's called by people in the know, has kind of taken its place. Mm-hmm. Me and my gaggle of gays, or excellency of queers, I love me a good collective noun, try to go every year around Thanksgiving. It's a short 2-hour flight from Houston. It's not uncommon to see lots of people on the flight, and also walking around, brunching, beaching, clubbing, doing all the things that my people love to do. So they're about to next week host a really huge worldwide bear gathering called Beef Dip.
Yes, Jeff sent us the advertisement for Beef Dip. Now, what I need to know is, are all of the beefy gentlemen dipping themselves in the ocean? Or, where is the dipping coming in?
Yes, I think you know the answer to that. He says, I may have told you this in the past, but my friend Kay Vaughn is the mascot for their advertising campaign and has been for years, and he did send us the picture. He asked, do people still can their food that they grow? I think so.
So he's on the does this still happen thing that you were talking about last week. Yes, people still can. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever canned anything?
My mom used to, because we had my dad was from Southern Georgia, so we'd go to Georgia and bring back peaches, and my mom would can peach preserves.
Were they good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So he says his grandparents had a ginormous garden and would have multi-hundreds mason jars full of green beans, corn, pickles, cabbage, potatoes, and stewed tomatoes. And I do like them now, Jeff. I didn't used to like them. They obviously kept us well supplied during the year. The only thing that they had to buy from the grocery store is meat because you had your veg.
Yeah.
And then the last thing he wants to bring up, do people still ride in the back of pickup trucks? I think people are hyper aware of safety these days, so it may have gone the way of the dinosaur. I'm going to tell you, not so. There is a social media account called Only in Dade. And it just spends its time pointing out the ludicrous and bizarre and dangerous behavior of people in Miami-Dade County, Florida. Again, it's called Only in Dade. Also where I grew up. So not only do people still ride in the back of pickup trucks, they ride on top of their cars on I-95. I saw this one thing. I don't know what led to this, but they were on like I-95 going really fast, and there was a woman on the roof of someone's car clutching on for dear life. I feel like it may have been the end consequence of a road rage incident.
It's like she leapt from one car to the other.
I think that maybe they were stopped, and she's did the thing where like, I'm going to stand in front of your car until the police get here. And the guy was just like, well, okay, fuck it. And just decided to go. So yeah. So only in Dade, Jeff, there's the answer to that question. Do people still ride in the backs of pickup trucks? I think I did it a grand total of once in my life, and it was very ill-advised.
So my one memory of riding in the back of a pickup truck was, well, there's two, but my brother had a truck with a camper on the back of it. So we used to ride in the back of that, but that felt different because it was enclosed, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It was just like you were a bunch of dice getting ready to be tossed out on the casino.
I remember my nephew being like 3 and taking a nap while we were driving. Like we weren't buckled into anything. Like we were just in the back of this truck. But then also I was at a family reunion in Vidalia, and I was, I don't know, maybe late high school. And we had been at my uncle's for a catfish fry. He had a catfish pond, and my dad and my dad and my uncle decided they were going to take the trash to the dump, because I mean, like, we were out like in a farm, right? And so you had to take your trash out. So me and my 2 cousins decided we were going to ride along. We get in the back of the pickup truck, and they're driving us to the dump. But what they don't drive us to the dump, they drive us to the cemetery. And unbeknownst to us, my brother and brother-in-law had gone ahead and were hiding behind the graves to jump out and scare us. This was like a thing that they had decided they were going to do. Now, I will tell you, my family do not drink at family functions. So this was not like we got drunk and decided we were going to scare the children's. Like, this was planned, sober. And they pulled up to this, like, really, you've seen like those, like in Savannah, they're really kind of gothic looking statues and cemeteries. Well, they had those there. So there was like an angel, right? A big angel. And my brother and brother-in-law were behind it, and they jumped out. And the window between the bed of the truck and the cab was open, and all 3 of us tried to dive into it at the same time and got wedged. So that was the last time I was ever in the back of a pickup truck.
Am I remembering this right? Did they do a thing where they kidnapped you?
No, they kidnapped my brother.
That, but very traumatically, right?
Yeah. So my brother it was for his 18th birthday. So I was 4. And I was insanely close to my brother. I mean, very, very close to my brother. And my mom didn't tell me it was happening because she knew I would tell him. So his friends came, they broke into the house, but my mom had left it unlocked. My mom took me into a back bedroom, but then cracked the door so she could watch it. And I was watching it too. My brother was sitting in like a rock, like a lazy boy kind of chair, watching TV. Friends with masks came in the front door, put a bag over his head, and drug him out kicking and screaming. I was hysterical and could not understand in my tiny 4-year-old brain why my mom was not reacting, like why she was just watching this happen. So yeah, that's a thing that happened to me.
What a series of wonderful gifts that these family members left for you inside of your brain to open as the years go by.
Let's talk about my generalized anxiety.
Holy shit. I don't feel like it's generalized at all. Okay, well, thank you, Jeff, for stirring up these memories.
Thanks, Jeff.
Good to hear from you. Well, Amanda, it looks like that's all there is, and there is no more.
I will be in therapy for the next week or so.
Oh, I wish a week could bang that out. Well, folks, thanks for joining us. Please get in touch with us if you want to talk to us about anything. Email us at familiarwilsons@gmail.com. And I sincerely hope that until we talk to you again, you have the best week you could possibly have. Keep your head down. love your friends and family. Maybe hop off of social media for a while, because really it's the Matrix. And I want you to break free of that mess and like have face-to-face conversations with folks. After, of course, you listen to our podcast.
That's right. Have a good week and go be kind.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.